We're on the bridge at the moment when it comes to WWE. The end of 2018 saw us draw a line under the old era and begin one anew, or at least that's what we've been told. The proof is in the pudding, as they say, and it's going to be an interesting few months as we see what changes are in store. Let's hope it's at least some, otherwise the internet may implode. Given that we are fans, there are a few things that seem obvious in this regard, so before we get proof either way, let's go through and maybe get some thoughts going off in the brains around Stamford, Connecticut. And if not, at least we managed to have some fun between us, and that's what it's all about. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and this is 10 things that would happen if WWE seriously started listening to the fans. Number 10, a full-time Universal Champion. Start with an easy one. Ever since the Universal Championship has arrived in WWE, it's not been ideal. A whole host of out-of-nowhere scenarios have knocked it back, and now we barely see it as it is possessed by one Brock Lesnar. On one hand, this is fine. He's a big star, and not appearing on TV every week helps that further. If you know the beast is coming into your town, you can get excited. The issue is, that will be the same whether he's the champion or not, so what we really need to do is get the belt back onto Raw so it can feel important, because right now, it does not. So to break it down, it would just be refreshing and nice to have a full-time guy as our title holder. Simple as that. It makes sense to some degree why WWE reverted back to Brock after the horrible Roman Reigns feuds, but that needs to be a temporary solution that ends sooner rather than later. It's time to move forward with it, and that doesn't happen when it's around the waist of Lesnar. It can be a draw regardless. Push the championship as part of Raw's product, and I imagine a lot of fans would be quite happy. Number 9, Seth Rollins would be rewarded. Seth Rollins, in many ways, is what the WWE wanted from Roman Reigns in terms of reactions. A guy who has got over organically since the Shield to the point now everyone pretty much loves him, Seth has earned people's respect. I mean, personally, I think Roman should have done too, but that's not how this works, clearly. Given that is the case though, let's reward Rollins for getting to this place, especially as he's proven how reliable he can be. What that entails, I don't know. There's many options. He could win the Royal Rumble, take the Universal title from Lesnar, have a featured match at WrestleMania, be given the green light that he is the guy. He's been a shining example of everything that's right in WWE, and that should be showcased, but only one man has the power to make that happen. It would also prove that people behind the scenes are listening to the fans. As soon as they realise Seth is getting his due, any doubters will start believing things really are different. That's no bad thing. Number 8, focus on the workhorses. Star power is obviously one of the most important aspects of pro wrestling. It's another area WWE needs to focus on. However, the routine for a while is that anyone who is seen as a workhorse gets stuck in a weird kind of mid-card position and never moves. They all just trade wins with each other. Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, the aforementioned Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. All of these names are crazy good workers and can have standout matches, yet they never reach those highest of highs. We haven't seen that since one John Cena, and he's now transitioning into becoming an actor. If WWE starts to build on this though, that is change. They'll always pay you back with their in-ring work, and from there who knows what's next. We've seen hints of this with the likes of Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, who are bringing all of these attributes together, but this needs to become company-wide. You can easily add Naomi, Sonya Deville, Ruby Riott and more to the list above. The roster right now is probably the best it ever has been, and capitalizing on that is paramount. 2019 has got to be the time to do it, otherwise people will cry. And I don't like seeing those tears. Number 7, a clear distinction between Raw and SmackDown. This may actually happen given that come October, SmackDown will be headed to Fox on Fridays, which gives WWE every chance to shift things up. The real reason we need this is because if you are someone who wants to watch all those 5 hours, it can get quite difficult when they feel exactly the same. Aside from a different running time, it's just a change of colour. It wouldn't take much either. New camera angles, don't just copy and paste the announcer's style, bring back unique sets. It would instantly make it seem like they're being produced by different people, and that can tie into what kind of wrestling we present on each. Let it be like NXT, which stands on its own 2 feet, even if it is under the WWE banner. More individuals are going to be likely to tune in if they know it's not going to be the same thing over and over again, and you could even go so far that it's like watching a different promotion altogether. Sounds nice to me. Number 6, work on Raw's flow. While that sounds like something you'd hear in a yoga session, it shouldn't be overlooked. I consider myself a pretty hardened WWE fan, and even I on occasion struggle with 3 hours of Raw because it can all just blend into one. That just can't be the case anymore. Monday nights are when WWE is meant to put its best foot forward and show both the old and the new what wrestling is about. You know what that is? Entertainment. I don't care about anything else, so whatever has to happen to ensure that those 180 minutes are fun, well, do that. Let 1 hour feel different from hour 2, which feels different from hour 3. Embrace the format rather than go through all the motions, and keep viewers watching by taking turns that nobody sees coming. It is a soap opera after all. A lot of this will come from giving the fans a bit more of what they want, but WWE is still a company who's been producing a 3-hour TV show for years. They need to go back to the well, look at what works, and replicate that. Number 5, less GM segments. Another likely change given that Baron Corbin and Paige have vanished from their GM roles. The real problem with a general manager is that they have been dominating WWE TV for almost 2 decades, if we decide Vince McMahon was essentially doing that role through the 90s. It's also become something of a crutch to rely on, as the Constable proved. It's not his fault either, he was just doing his job, but it does offer an easy way out which often makes no sense. That's why they gotta go. Even if it means staring at a piece of paper for a while as you try and figure out what will work, that's fine. It'll get those creative juices going and stop us overusing a person in a suit coming out to the ring and just pushing the dots together. Wrestlers don't need a form of management to have matches or go after titles. Back in the day, Jack Tunney may have made fights official, but he barely took up more than 5 minutes of TV time. Shelve it for a while for the greater good. The big empty void is pretty exciting because it can be filled with anything. Number 4, less toilet humor. Look, people have different senses of humor. I get it and it's fine. You can't please everyone, but you also can't focus on one person when you're writing a TV show seen by millions, and that means we need less toilet jokes. A favourite, or so they say, of Vince McMahon, if you do go back over the years, you will see a lot of gags about poo, wee, farting and vomit. If that's your thing, great, but if it's not, well then you don't want to watch this. Straight up, it's gotta go. Far too immature to allow new fans to take anything seriously. It's also not that funny. And I know that's a hypocritical statement given the first paragraph, but I'm yet to see more than 2 voices pipe up and say they enjoyed Drake Maverick pissing himself during a tag team title match. Hell, Braun Strowman even literally pushed a toilet off the stage to try and kill Kevin Owens, who was inside. Again, we don't need that. If anything, it has been over-relied upon, which is the issue, and variety is always the key. You keep banging the same drum and the joke is going to be running to the ground. It's not done much for ratings either, so shoot it in the face and leave it be. Number 3, organic heel and face turns. This is likely one we'll all get behind and really why we're here in the first place. We wanted to boo Roman Reigns, but WWE disagreed. We wanted to cheer Becky Lynch, but WWE disagreed. We wanted to cheer Daniel Bryan, and well, you know the rest. We could do this all day. And yeah, a part of me gets it too. If Vince McMahon has an idea in his head and thinks he can get the audience to shift gears, then fine, go for it. But don't ignore the obvious, and certainly don't ignore anyone who is getting momentum, whether they're in your plans or not. It could go anywhere and potentially create the superstar we're all so desperate to see. And if it just peters out, okay, cool. At least we had some fun with it. To strip it right back, it's always about listening to the audience and changing gears. That's why The Rock becoming a good guy naturally was so cool back in the day. You saw it evolve in front of your eyes, and then you were desperate to be a part of it. We all missed that, so let's bring it back. Number 2, clear NXT call-up plans. My word, do we need to do this. The amount of call-ups that resulted in nothing is so bad now, you can't even remember the ones that did work. The Ascension, Revival, AOP, No Way Jose, Tyler Breeze, Sanity, Ty Dillinger. We don't even mention the good of Charlotte or Samoa Joe anymore, because they got buried by other people's tales, mostly entitled, What the Hell is Happening? Triple H once promised us that all promoted wrestlers will have clear narratives so they don't get lost, and let's hope the newest match featuring Lacey Evans, Lars Sullivan, Nikki Cross, Heavy Machinery and EC3 go back to that way of thinking. At least give him a damn shot. No Way Jose wasn't even given a glass of water, because within 2 weeks he had vanished, and that's just not enough time. Let them breathe, let them grow. Some sort of purpose should be the bare minimum before the decision is made. Just because is not good enough, and it ruins sometimes years of work. As I've said a lot, it really doesn't matter if something doesn't work out. I'd rather see 100 failed attempts at gold than 1 attempt at sanity who weren't allowed to do anything for no reason at all. The latter just hurts. Number 1, balancing NXT. While the powers that be may still see NXT as developmental, I don't think fans do anymore. It's just a third brand that happens to feature wrestlers who are working on their trade. But it has its own touring schedule, those takeover specials that rival anything from Raw and SmackDown, and of course, its own roster. Ideally, we wouldn't just hit the reset button on NXT as we have done in the past when all the stars get moved up to Monday or Tuesday nights. In a perfect world, some of the star power would be allowed to stay down in Florida, and it would mean the drip feeding to WWE would be far more balanced. A reason to stay up to date with all 3, rather than see NXT as a product that operates in waves. If we knew that the Velveteen Dream, Aleister Black or Shayna Baszler were in it for the long haul, it would add more credibility, and credibility is what it deserves. I get there's issues with finances and so on, but there's ways and means to fix that too. If someone is doing a good job, give them more money. Who would have thought it? Know of any other things that would happen if WWE seriously started listening to the fans? Make sure you let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Then head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, and as you are here on YouTube, go and watch some more WhatCulture wrestling videos. My name is Simon from WhatCulture, and I will talk to you again soon.